Alright, in this video we will be covering how to make an air attack for our characters. So this is going to be done by first opening up whatever character's animation blueprint you're using. In my case, it's my adventurer animation blueprint, and we're going to go ahead and open up the animation graph. Now, in a previous video, I showed how we can separate our main locomotion into two state machines to just clean things up a bit. If you haven't already seen that video, I'd recommend starting there. Essentially, I have just determined, based off of whatever the character movement mode is how we will be picking state machines. This is a great method, as ground walking is completely separate from falling, and those animations will rarely interact. So we're going to go ahead and open up the airborne, and I've added in a jump called air attacks, connected to air attack 1. For this specific sprite sheet, we can see that there's a first air attack with a more of a swipe, second air attack, it's kind of like a up swipe, and then a third air attack, which is a looping ground slam. So we will ignore that one for now, and I've just gone with the air attack 1. And this will just be a non-looping animation with the transitional rule back to the base area of time remaining equal to 0. All right, now we can hop into the main player controller, where we will see within the enhanced input action. In the last video, over covering combo attacks, I mentioned why we need this is moving on ground, and that was because if we're not moving on ground and we attack, we need to then be doing some type of an aerial attack. So when it is false that we're moving on ground, we'll come down here, do an immediate check off of a switch for our player states, making sure that we are in the player states of none. What this is going to do is stop us from being able to do any attacks right now. If we were to be doing something such as wall sliding, we can't actually attack. However, in the future, we can add some type of an implementation that might make some boosted aerial attack that will jump us off of the wall and then attack. For now, we just want to focus on when our player state is equal to none. And we're going to go ahead and set the player states immediately to be attacking. Do a jump to our air attacks jump. You can define which state machine that is in, and in this case, as I showed, it was held within the airborne state machine. However, because I don't have within my locomotion, I don't have a jump named air attacks, this is a bit redundant. However, you can still name this to that airborne state machine. It won't make a difference for now. Next up, we're going to do the bind event on playback sequence change from the animation instance player. Now, if you haven't seen any of the videos leading up to this, essentially what this is doing is fixing a timing issue with the jump to node. When we perform a jump to node, so we'll go in here and just use this as an example. When we jump to this node and come into this air attack, there is a timing difference where it takes longer to get this animation right here, the air attack, actually playing than it does for our blueprints to continue down their logic pathway. So this can create some gaps and potential bugs and errors to come up where we aren't actually in the animation yet. And this may be, as I've said previously, just a few frames. However, we want to ensure definitively that we are in that, in this case, the air attack 1 animation. And this will be done with this simple bind event. Once the playback sequence has changed, once the animation has changed, in the instance of this, once we're jumping, we'll see if we're airborne, there are two animations that can play, the jumping and the falling. So that first jumping and then the falling. So once we are for sure out of that, because we've clicked attack, we will then come into this custom event, unbind it so this doesn't get fired any more times, and perform a flip-flop. The reason we're doing this flip-flop is because we need to create a little bit of a loop. We want to do this same logic again. We want to make sure that, as I just said, we are out of whatever previous animation was before the attack animation, and now we want to do it again for the end of the airborne attack animation. We want to know when we've changed out of that animation. However, once we are in that attack animation, because this has already gone through once, checking for the animation before the attack animation, and we're going back through it. We don't want to continuously loop it. We then need, now we know we've gone through it once, we're going through it a second time. Now we want to set the player states to none, because that second go through with this coming through here will mean that we're finishing out the attack animation, whether that be completely finishing it by having the attack be performed completely in the air, or having it interrupted when we touch the ground. This will account for both of those, ensuring that our player state will be set back to none. This will not create any dependencies where we land on the ground, it gets interrupted, and somehow something doesn't get reset. All right, that's about it for this video. We've covered these unbinds and binds a bit now. I hope they're starting to make a little bit more sense. It can be a little hard to visualize exactly what's going on here, but this really will help stop future bugs and dependencies. So I would recommend definitely ensuring you have these in your code. As always, thanks for watching. Feel free to ask any questions, and I'll see you in the next video.